Hi guys! I hope you're all having fun getting into your new routines and exploring the resources. I will be starting to post clips on how to teach some of the specific areas in the coming days and weeks, but first we really do need to cover all of the basics. With that in mind, today we are focusing on my favourite topic, managing behaviour through creating rules or promises and rewards. Any teacher would tell you that effective behaviour management is essential before any learning can take place. And this is something that underpins the real life Rainbow Classroom. It is also an area that I am most confident in, I think. I've worked in both mainstream schools and settings for children with special educational needs, and I've come across pretty much every type of behaviour imaginable. Seriously. So I know that what I'm about to tell you, if done properly, really can work. No ifs, no buts. However, I do realise and accept that this is going to be much more difficult for families at home. Home is a place where usually rules are a bit more relaxed and we don't have to behave the same way we do at school, rightly so. Of course, children see you as their mums and dads, not their teacher, which naturally is going to make your job that bit harder. But I can share some ideas of the things that have worked for me, and I hope that this will help you. First things first, now that you have your timetable in place, that needs to become your allocated time where behaviour expectations are different. The key thing is your child understanding what is expected of them, so it is having this type of conversation. In the mornings when we do our learning time, I expect you to behave in the same way that you would do at school. I will become Mrs. Page and we will make some rules together to follow. Then, all the other times, I am still mum and we go back to being like we normally are at home. Once you've had this chat, the next job is to create some rules together that you will both agree to follow. Sometimes the word rules can sound a little bit harsh, so I actually like to call rules promises and emphasise the fact that this is a promise that you're both going to make to each other. In the real life Rainbow Classroom, we would start with a discussion which I would guide, then we would record these promises on paper so that we have them to refer back to. Here are a few examples. So, we're going to work together. We're going to listen to each other. We're going to be kind to each other. We're both going to try our best. Back to the start. You can add to this list if you want to, but don't go overboard and focus on the key rules that you think you will need depending on your child's needs. If you have a child who particularly struggles to sit still, for example, don't use sit still as a rule, as you are setting the child up to fail. Instead, decide that movement is okay as long as you are listening and looking. Once we've agreed on our promises, we can decide on a reward system. A reward system doesn't have to be a fancy chart with stickers and all sorts. The best type of reward system is very simple and clear, and most importantly is around what your child wants. It needs to be something that they really, really want to get so that it is an actual incentive. It's no good you picking a reward that they're not even that fussed about, or even worse, something that they're going to get anyway. It needs to be something extra that will really encourage them to follow your rules. Another key part of a reward system is that it needs to be quite instant. I would say, depending on the child and their age, generally reward systems work best if they are given on the same day as the reward has been earned. Working towards something over a long period of time is quite a hard concept for children to understand, and it leaves your system open to failure. I also particularly like reward systems that you can add time to or add to, as this means the more children try, the more time or things that they are going to get. For some children, particularly those with special educational needs, it needs to be a smaller reward after every session. So for example, first we're going to do this and then you're going to get that. This keeps your child motivated and more likely to get the reward, which then starts that very positive cycle. A few examples of reward systems that have worked for me are things like collecting Lego parts, and then however many Lego parts you have at the end of the session equates to that much time doing the child's chosen reward. Or giving child minutes for everything positive that they do and for following the promises that you've agreed. However many minutes you tally equates to that many minutes doing the chosen reward. Finally, a bit of a controversial one, adding a sweet or a chocolate to a bowl, and then you get to eat that many sweets or chocolates at the end. The reason I say that one's a bit controversial is because of health aspects, and often these ones aren't really appropriate for school, but for you at home, that might work best. Now, the reward could be, as we said before, anything that your child really wants. It might be playing with Play-Doh, baking a cake with you, playing on the iPad, watching YouTube, going for a walk with you, whatever it is that they particularly like doing or really want to do. Every child is very different, so I don't want to be too prescriptive about what I'm advising here. So, here are the crucial elements to your reward systems. First of all, consistency. Whatever you say you will do and you agree to, you absolutely must follow through on. No changing or adapting once you begin. So here are the crucial elements to your reward systems. 1. Consistency. Whatever you say you will do, you absolutely must follow through on. No changing or adapting once you begin. The minute your child sees you give in to something, or alternatively, not give something that you have promised, the reward system has failed and it will not be effective. 2. You are the adult and you make the decisions. Do not allow yourself to be manipulated. I know how hard this is because my 1-year-old tries to manipulate me on a daily basis. If your child asks for a reward, for example, you might say, I will decide, and then make a point of not giving the reward until you have decided. 3. Once you start your reward system, see it through for at least a week. Don't give up even if it doesn't work immediately. Keep going and remain firm on what you have agreed. Slowly but surely, your child will realise that you mean business, but this can take a few days. 4. Ignore the negative and focus on the positive. This is a biggie for me. Where possible, it is always best to ignore things that you don't particularly like, but then praise the minute your child is following the rules that you created. When you do praise, tell your child exactly what you're praising them for. For example, I love how you are trying your best. Or, I saw that you were about to start sulking then and give up, but you stopped yourself, and that is brilliant. 5. Give your rewards often throughout your sessions. Don't wait until the end and say, oh, well done, you've earned this many minutes today. Let your child see their time building up. 6. Make your rewards happen quite quickly, if possible on the same day, but if needed more frequently after each session. 7. Use an incentive that your child really wants, something that they would not otherwise be getting. It doesn't have to be anything amazing, expensive or fancy. It purely depends on your child's interests and what they really want to be able to do or have. 7. Try to use a reward system which you can add to so that your child can keep gaining more. I also am not afraid to take away time, providing that I have given 2 explicit warnings. This is a little bit controversial, and some people would say you do not take away something that a child has earned. But in this context, I truly believe it works, as long as your child can regain it again. This way there is flexibility, as you can keep adding and taking away, and if your child really wants more time, they will want to work with you, so you add more and not take any away. But when you are taking a minute away, it has to be for something quite serious. It can't just become, I'm taking a minute away and now I'm adding a minute and now I'm taking one away and now I'm adding a minute, because then again it loses its effectiveness. The taking away I would only do if you're really particularly unhappy about something, and like I said, you've given 2 explicit warnings. So if you do that again, I will take a minute away. A bit later on, I've already told you once that if you do that again, I will take a minute away. This is now your final warning. And then eventually, if it does happen again, sadly, you will then take that minute away. I can't remember what number I'm up to now. I think 8. 8. Role model the behaviour that you expect. It's no good asking your child to listen to you and then not being willing to listen to them, or asking them to be kind but then shouting at them all the time. Think about how you would want to be treated and act accordingly. That's an easy one for us to forget. 9. Set up so that you are going to succeed and not fail. I always say that on day 1 of starting any reward system, you want your child to really achieve it and get the reward, as this starts the ball rolling and your child will see how lovely it all is and want to continue it in the future. There's still loads more I would love to talk about on behaviour management, but for now I'm going to leave it here and then maybe post another clip again in a couple of weeks' time with some more ideas that may help. Also, please do let me know what you're struggling with if it is more complex, and if you feel like you've tried everything already, and I will try to help with a few different suggestions. Good luck.